Live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, it's the Bro Show number 12 with your host, Jeff Laurence. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Bro Show, April 10th, 2021. And it's been a really tough year, with this COVID and everything. We lost two birds and a dog that I was babysitting for 5 years. And lost a very good friend. He was such a good man, honestly, but he got sick. He wasn't well, and he got very sick, and it wasn't from complications from COVID. It was something else, and I guess he didn't take good enough care of his health, and he wasn't like. It was about 65 or something like that. It wasn't that old, and it was really too bad, and it was really, really. I mean, he was a good person. You know what I mean? Like, a righteous man, pious, observant man. Sam, it was like a tzaddik, you know what I mean? Goldberg, Bob, like a real, he was a tzaddik. He was such a generous man. He had such a big heart, and it was such a great loss. Of all the losses we experienced, that was the most impactful, the saddest. Who he was stepfather to my best friend's kids, the two boys, and he was a brother, actually, to my best friend, long best friend of over 50 years, and that's it. And I'm going to be 62 years old in a few months, and people sometimes ask me, "Well, you're 62, you're a comedian." I says, "Yeah, I mean, it's better." Because I figure it's better to be funny than to be dead. What else am I going to do with my time? Most people plan for their retirement and make out the will. Me, I'm turning 2 years ago. When I was turning 60, I go into comedy. So everybody has different ways of dealing with trauma, of life changes. It just so happened to be the best thing I could do at the time, most creative, and the best thing I can do at a time was I came out as a comedian, but as a stand-up comedian, fulfilling almost lifelong dream. So we have a great show for you tonight. Hello, Jason. Nice to see you. And we have Goldberg and Bob Hodkin, Bill Douglas. And you heard of Seinfeld? Well, he's not Seinfeld. It's not Seinfeld. It's Goldberg. And it might make a good sitcom, doing Goldberg. It might make a good sitcom. But I haven't spoken to Larry David. Anyways, so he's from right outside New York, across the way. And he's very talented comedian. Came out Jewish Orthodox, shocked his parents. And please welcome to your screen, Goldberg.
You, Jeff. Thank you so much, Jeff. I got fix this because this is the one that we have to get centered. So, wow, it's a tough act to follow there, Jeff. It really is. Sorry about the loss of your friend and your dog and your birds. I mean, I'm sure they were delicious, but still, I'm sure losing two birds is hard to handle. So let me explain my name. Look. I know what people are thinking. They're expecting Goldberg the wrestler, and I come out and they say, that's not Goldberg the wrestler. No, excuse me. This is Goldberg the wrestler. This is what Goldberg the wrestler looks like after 14 months in this damn pandemic. I've gained 1,000,000 pounds, haven't had a haircut. I mean, can you believe this has lasted this long? I mean, I refuse to believe that this was made in China. Nothing made in China lasts this long. It's impossible. I'm sorry. Where I live, they put smokers on the vaccine list, and I started smoking a few weeks ago to get the vaccine. I mean, we'll do anything for this vaccine, right? I'm 5 years older. In the past, if someone called us fat, we would say, I'm not fat. And now we say, I'm not fat. I'm morbidly obese. Give me the vaccine. Crazy. I walk into a phone store the other day, T-Mobile store. My phone is broken. And I say, hey, can you fix my phone? And they said, sure, but it's a 40-minute wait. And because of COVID, you can't wait in the store. So you have to wait outside. I said, okay, how am I going to know when to come in? And they said, we'll call you. I said, well, can you fix my phone first? I mean, it's just nuts. I mean, even like my neighbor is a nuclear physicist, and he's such a big shot, real like tight ass, and he talks about how important his job of a nuclear physicist is. He hasn't worked since March. Every day I see him on the stoop. I said, Leon, what are you doing home? He says, I'm a non-essential worker. The nuclear physicist is non-essential, but the barista at Starbucks is essential? What a nutty thing. Things are getting a little bit back to normal, though, I have to say. Comedy clubs are opening up here, but it's a little bit of a change. So because of social distancing, they have less people coming, but now it's a 12-drink minimum. So, you know, I went to a movie the other day. I went to see King Kong versus Godzilla. It is scarier than the original one. Those people are very close together. Very scary about COVID. And let me tell you something. The CDC just announced that you should double mask. Double mask. 2 masks. You know, I'm not surprised because I've always known people are two-faced. And they even said animals can get COVID, gorillas and lions. So please, people, stay at least 6 feet away from gorillas and lions. You don't want to get COVID. So like Jeff was saying, I want to explain my name. My name is Goldberg. I used to have a first name, but I recently came out to my family. It did not go well. It really went very badly. Which is surprising because my nephew came out. He came out female, identifying as female. They were so nice to him. They bought him clothes, took him to Broadway shows. I came out Orthodox Jewish, and my family flipped out. What the hell's that on your head? You're putting us back a generation. What is wrong with you? You think you're going to heaven and we're not? And once I started wearing the kippah, everywhere I go, people say, Goldberg, Goldberg. So I just dropped my first name, no need for it. And actually, I came out after visiting Israel. Israel is the most beautiful country in the world. If you ever get a chance to visit it, I urge you to visit it. But it's the size of New Jersey. It's true. And everyone's fighting over it. The size of New Jersey, where I live. Do you know what the other 49 states would say if a bunch of Jews took over New Jersey? You know what they would say? Thank you. That's what they would say. I don't know. I love being Jewish, but man, our holidays, they're pretty wacky. We had the holiday of Hanukkah. You know, it was a miracle. The light was supposed to last one night. It lasted 8 nights. I mean, you call that a miracle? Keith Richards is still alive. That's a miracle. I found a wife to marry me and have sex with me. That's a miracle. It's no miracle that the light lasted 8 nights. And then we just finished the holiday of Passover. You know, and the story is the Jews were running out of Egypt, and they didn't have time for the bread to rise, so that's why we eat matzah. So in other words, people, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what crisis or emergency, there's always time to eat. Fire alarm, schmire alarm, where you going? Make a sandwich. You don't know how long you're going to be out there. I mean, like, how did that go? Let's go back a few thousand years. How did that go? How ridiculous was this? Oh, my God, Dad, we have to go. The Egyptians, they're coming. Oh, Slimy, I worked all day on the pyramids. That Paro was a real slave driver in the hot sun. Your mother has a brisket in the oven and she's baking bread. Sit. No, Dad, we have to go. We have to go. The Egyptians, they're at the gate. Sit down. Better to run on a full stomach than an empty stomach. Sit. And the kid gets all mad and he pulls the bread out. And that's how we have matzah. It's true. True story. But you know, us Jews, we love our food. We love our food. I had an uncle, God rest his soul, Uncle Ira. He died in the Holocaust because of a pastrami sandwich. He had escaped his town, but then he realized he had a hot pastrami sandwich left in the fridge, and he went back to get it. My aunt never remarried. Aunt Ida never remarried, but at every bar mitzvah and wedding, she broke down at the carving stations. It's very sad. But listen, I'm actually going to be in the movie. Superheroes are big. They have the Black Panther, female superhero Wonder Woman. They even have a Protestant superhero, the Wasp. I will be the new Jewish superhero called the Jewish Kvetch. And my superpower is I make the villains feel so guilty that they surrender. Go ahead, Jeff. Destroy the universe. See if I care. Just know you're breaking your mother's heart. Oh, look at you flying from planet to planet with those fancy schmancy flying machines. That you have time for, but to visit your parents, you have no time. What's the matter with you? But like every superhero, I have my kryptonite. Oh my God, is that a clearance sale? It's coming out in the summer. Hope you see it. That's my time. Stay safe. Stay happy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good.
Welcome.
Good. But you think, they were Jewish, they would have better planning skills. If you know you have to leave a certain place and you got to make bread, wouldn't you think you would start like 3 hours ahead of time so you have time for the dough to rise?
I would think so.
So
And I have to tell you, it's very hard, distinguish yourself as a Jewish comedian because there's so many of them. But it's easy for me because I'm the one that's not funny, so people remember me.
Yeah, and crossing that Red Sea was a miracle we got across.
It really was.
And then, I mean, you think they had better sense of direction. You go from one country that's adjacent to the country you want to go to, the promised land. To go to the land you were promised by God, and it takes you 40 years. You have to wander 40 years in the desert.
It was the constipation from the matzah. They couldn't walk. Really, I mean, you can't walk too fast. I mean, that stuff binds you. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and the reason why, and Jews don't go hungry. They just go, God, and the manna comes from the sky. So,
it's true.
And those 10 Commandments. I mean, you know why Moses was so pissed off after seeing them with the golden calf, throwing down the tablets, So you see what you made me do. Now I'm going to have to walk up 10 miles up Mount Sinai to speak to the Father again.
Yeah. It's true.
I mean, I would get pretty pissed off too if I came down a mountain and I had to walk up 10 miles again up the mountain to speak to my Father again.
That's right, because he's 5 minutes late, right?
Yeah.
He's 5 minutes late.
To ask him.
This isn't here, so we better build a golden calf.
Can I have the 10 Commandments again, please? Please?
Right. Replica.
Yeah.
Interesting stories. I don't know if in Canada they had it, but last week the 10 Commandments was on, and everyone watches it in America on Easter Sunday, Saturday night into Easter Sunday. So it's like a 4-hour movie. It's like you feel like watching it. You feel like you spent 40 years in the desert. It goes on and on, that movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
with Charlton Heston, and really good movie. I heard they did the Splitting of the Sea with. I used to be a film major, so I think if I remember correctly, they did it with Jello. They used Jello and they put it slow, had it go slow, and that's how they did. They did the illusion of the splitting of the Red Sea.
Yeah. Shows that Jello's good for some things.
Right.
Yeah.
Really was a classic movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Great movie. And well, I used to watch it every year. Our last few years, since I don't watch network television anymore. Just like Netflix, Hulu, and all that. Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. So
cool. Cobra Kai. You watch Cobra Kai?
No.
It's the Karate Kid. I like that. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you tell people to get vaccinated. I got my card here, and I don't know about in Canada, but they give us Krispy Kreme donuts every day for your vaccination, so we can continue to fatten the curve. And I had both vaccines, and I tell you, very little negative side effects. And I find it so much easier to parallel park with the eye and back of my head now. It works very well. Very well.
Yeah.
Please get vaccinated, people.
Yeah. I was reading an article that after the first vaccine, you're 70 or 80% immune.
Right.
So the second one is like a booster.
Yep. No, I had them both, and
and they're very cautious. Just they're so afraid in Canada, and they're so cautious, and they're so scared of everything. We're not like that adventurous, or it's no wonder why our economy has always been like that. We depend on the Americans for our economy, branch plants and trade. Get 70% trade with the United States, and it's why we can never have our own car company, because we're not big entrepreneurs. Just couldn't have, couldn't do it. Too afraid to fail. That there was a electric car company in Quebec for a while. I don't know what happened with that. Then it didn't last. So we're not the greatest entrepreneurs, or get transfer payments from the government. That we can do. That we're good at. Make our own big companies, create a lot of jobs. No, that's a little more difficult. It's more complicated.
Well, there's always comedy to fall back on, right?
Yeah.
Making millions in comedy.
Yeah.
So when you became a comedian, whenever you tell someone you're a comedian, don't they ask you, "Oh, do you know Seinfeld?"
Yeah, sure. I speak to him every day.
Yeah, sure. I trained him.
Yeah.
He's my protege.
Yeah. I'm on a first name basis with Seinfeld,
I call him Seinfeld.
I have Jerry embroidered on all my pillowcases.
Yeah. But you mentioned you're turning 60. I actually just turned 60 a few months ago.
62. I'll be 62 in July.
You said when you turned 60, you wanted to be a comedian.
60, and my way of dealing with it was to go into stand-up.
Yeah.
And plus the fact that I had great material. I says, but I got such good material now. I can't keep it all to myself. That would be selfish. I have to, get it out there.
Once you turn 60, there's less fear. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
only thing I'm afraid of is not being able to make it to the bathroom now. That's it.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm performing in a place and there's a bathroom, I'm there. But my children gave me beautiful gifts for turning 60. My daughter was concerned about COVID and me, and she got me a ventilator, which was nice, just in case.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and my son got me that 23andMe. Ever see that genetic thing? And I found out I'm not his father, so I don't have to pay for college anymore. So I'm good. Very good presents. Very happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna bring up our next comedian. He's a retired dentist. Thank you, Jason. Says Jason thinks you look much younger.
Thank you.
Um,
Jason needs glasses.
so he's a retired dentist from Long Island, New York. Went into comedy, and very funny, witty man. Please welcome to your screen, Bob Lafotkin.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much. I'm not actually not retired, but I am a dentist. It's interesting. New York State has legalized gambling. It recently legalized marijuana, and it's about to legalize prostitution. I think New York State should change its name to what it really is. It should be called college. During the quarantine, I can't believe how bored I was, just sitting around in front of a computer all day, hours at a time, until I learned that with a little music and some mood lighting, I can be ambidextrous. Made the time go much better. My grandfather used to tell me how hard it was living through the Great Depression, how he had no job or food for days or weeks at a time. Well, my kids are going to hear about the pandemic when I tell them how we suffered for months and months at a time without going out to dinner. The term super spreader, you've heard the term super spreader during the pandemic? Well, that's not new. We had a super spreader events in college. It was anytime Janet showed up to a party. I read that Amazon now has a digital drugstore, and it's really great. Yesterday I walked past my Echo, and Alexa sold me a joint. It's very convenient. Just got back from the doctor last week for a physical. He told me, it wasn't very helpful. He told me if I live long enough, I'm probably going to die. But to keep my cholesterol down, he told me to start juicing. So I tried it. For instance, this morning I juiced a pound of kale with a half a pound of spinach with a quarter pounder. They went together very nicely. Before the pandemic, my wife and I used to do some traveling. I remember 2 weeks in Scotland. I was terrified, absolutely terrified, riding on the wrong side of the road until the very last day when she let me drive. Another time we were on our way to Rio de Janeiro, bikini capital of the world. My wife packed 6 sundresses, five bathing suits, 3 pairs of flip-flops. I packed binoculars. I saw a sign on the wall at the airport that said, "Passengers with suspicious luggage will be detained." Well, I took the weed out of my bag and I put it into hers. TSA will inspect any specific bag if you stuff them a couple of bucks. This is also the year that our sex life changed dramatically. Steve, you spoke about 23andMe. Well, my wife, our sex life changed dramatically ever since my wife got back the results to her Ancestry.com DNA test. Turns out she's 97% Jewish, 3% Hispanic. So now her usual bedtime moaning of "oi, oi, oi" has been transformed into "ay, ay, 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 ay." And I get angry because it's so loud. I could hear her from the other room. Now, with the kids out of the house, my wife's been kind of spreading her wings a little bit, expanding her horizons. For instance, she just ran for and was elected to mayor of our small village over here on Long Island. It was a landslide. There were 39 votes. The vote was 36-3. I was quite relieved to find out my two kids didn't vote for her either. She did, however, get the Hispanic vote. And it's gotten a little to her head. She refers to me as the first dude and makes me drive her around in Toyota 1. She also started going out. She also started going out on her own with the girls to ladies' night out at our local shooting range. It seems like a large kickback reminds her of her daytime job as mayor. And actually, my wife has a lot in common with a rifle. Both have sleek butts, both have long, slender bodies, and both react violently when I wiggle my finger. Try this one. Cock. Cock is a verb in gun terminology. So I guess when my wife taught me how to shoot her pistol, I guess it was a compliment when she mentioned to me that I didn't have a very large cock, but that's another story. I have a small family. My mom was an only child. My wife was an only child, and my sister's an only child. But I have two daughters. My last year, my older daughter came to me. She said, "Dad, brace yourself. You're going to be a grandfather." And before I could get excited, she asked me if I could buy something in advance for the baby, like a blanket or a rattle or college tuition. My younger daughter last year, after about 200 years in school, finally graduated. She's now a microbiologist. Took her all that time to become that small. I had an anniversary of my own, 35 years as an orthodontist last year. So I'm still practicing. I became an orthodontist for many reasons. I love working with young, healthy kids. I love creating beautiful smiles that last a lifetime. And I failed to get into medical school. The pandemic's changed the way we practice in so many ways. Now we take everyone's temperature, we wear double masks, and we actually sterilize the instruments. And no more 5-second rule. In my office, I have two areas: a large area with many chairs, and two private rooms. The large area is for kids to prevent the possibility of being accused of any inappropriate touching, and the private rooms are for adults to prevent the possibility of any witnesses. No. I was taking off the braces off a patient when another kid screamed across the room, said, "How come you're taking off her braces? Mine have been on longer." I said, "Sweetie, it's simple. Her mom just made the last payment." Now, I use both regular braces and also these removable. You've seen these Invisalign removable braces. I was consulting with a patient last month about her Invisalign treatment. When she turned to me, she said, "Should I remove these for oral sex?" And I looked at her. I said, "Well, absolutely, but just so you know, I also accept cash or Venmo." Thank you, Jeff. It's been fun. That's my time for today.
Woo.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. So, as an orthodontist, you straighten a lot of people out.
And we try.
Yeah. And you really make sure they're wired for sound.
So we try to tailor our office to each individual patient. Like we have an office for kids with games and balloons. We have an office for millennials. We call that wired. You know, every room has a safe space, and the bill gets emailed directly to their parents. We just opened another office in Chelsea. Has it been going well? I think it's because we named it, "Come on in and get straight."
Yeah.
Did your birds die of COVID?
Just one was old age. The other one was just like it was not was sick. Well, actually, we got one. Yeah, one of the ones we got, and this one, it was like getting thin, lost a lot of its feathers, and it was sick. So it was a very frail bird. Didn't make it. And the other one the other one was actually 22 years old.
Wow.
Very hard to put a mask on those things. Like you can't find their ears.
Yeah. Yeah. And the dog was had like kidney problems for a while, was just getting old and sick, and you know.
Yeah, that's hard. We had to put a dog down a couple of years ago. It was horrible. I couldn't watch.
You gotta be careful with dogs. Vets can charge whatever they want.
Oh yeah, and they do.
$8,000 for a surgery.
Yeah, same thing.
I got a second opinion. I found another vet that would cremate him for $300. So
my daughter's dog, they had to go in and remove a ball. Stupid dog ate a ball, like a Pensy Pinky kind of thing. If you remember,
my dog had his balls removed. Well, they have anything, dogs. They really do.
Yeah. Okay, so our next comedian from Concord, New Hampshire, is a science teacher, grade 6 science teacher, and he found the advantage to being a comedian at the same time being teaching grade sixers is that you kind of get used to people not laughing at your jokes. So please welcome to our screen, Bill Douglas.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I hate being 56. Things just appear on my body. Strange things, unappealing things. You think your backyard has mole problems? I wake up with fully formed moles. I swear they weren't there the night before. You know? Why can't cool things grow on my body? Like single malt scotch. Yeah, this is Bill. I'm not going to make it in today. No. Last night I broke out with a case of Glenlivet. You know, I discovered a bump on my back and started growing hair, long hair. It's like there's a little hippie living on me. Groovy, man. Turns out my wife doesn't like hippies. Do something with that. So I'm thinking French braids. You know, even my 6th grade students point out my flaws. Mr. Douglas, you got something in your hair. No, up higher. By your bald spot. 56 is not glamorous. I'm too young to be a wise elder, but old enough I need to stretch before opening the pickles. Oh, God. Football injury? No. Vlasics. It's crazy. I used to dream of being a race car driver, but now I drive a 2008 Kia. You know, Kyle Busch drives under the checkered flag and he's a hero. I drive under the crossing guards flag and I'm a bad guy. NASCAR gets cool sponsors like Monster, Budweiser, and Pennzoil. Who's sponsoring me? Ben Gay? Polydent? Depends. I'll never cruise Daytona, but when I drive around my cul-de-sac, I get thrills passing my neighbor in his car. Well, he's not exactly driving a car. Yeah, he's 6. It's a big wheel. Watch it, mister. I used to cringe when my wife handed me the rake. Backyard's a mess, Bill. Now I cringe when she hands me a jar of gherkins. Growing up was hard. My mom had no faith in me. Mom, I wanted a dot-to-dot book. Bill, let's start with a dot book. Dad to the rescue. Here, son, 2 dots. I'd get together with friends. They'd hold up their books. Look, a unicorn. I'd hold up mine. Look, chopsticks. My brother finally got me a regular dot-to-dot book, but he rearranged the numbers. Instead of a unicorn, I got an aroused horse. Yeah, a uniboner. My brother and sister are way older than me. I was an oops child. When I was a kid, my brother taped my picture to a milk carton. He called it the unwanted poster. This child is not missing, but you could change that. You buy the tempting Skittles, we provide the nondescript van. I tell you. I had friends who tried crazy things on their honeymoons. Diving, parasailing, abstinence. My wife and I tried things on our honeymoon, and we busted out the Kama Sutra. Didn't make it past the intro. Wow, people were flexible back then. And where are we supposed to get an elephant? I had found a resort in, honest to God, folks, Dixville Notch, New Hampshire. Seriously, Bill? Dixville Notch? Sorry, honey. There were no rooms in Schlongtown. Our honeymoon marked some firsts for me. First time using a bellhop. Yeah, all 4 trash bags are ours. Hefty, hefty, hefty. It was the first time taking my wife to a dinner that had 3 different forks, and all of them were metal. All in all, I was pleased with my honeymoon performance, but my wife, I thought nice guys finished last. Sorry, honey. Hand me the Kama Sutra. I'll go find an elephant. You know, they say your life flashes before your eyes at the end. That could be humiliating. My life wasn't very exciting. I peaked at age 10. I didn't realize that single-handedly winning that game of dodgeball in 5th grade was my 15 minutes of fame. I mean, I kept assuming I would do something bigger and better with my life. You know, besides winning that free courtesy call from the auto dealer. We should be able to pick whose life flashes before our eyes. Hey, honey, want to watch my life flash by? Sorry, Bill. I'm kind of dodgeballed out. Can we watch something else? I'm curious how my college boyfriend's life turned out. Thank you, Jeff. You know, speaking of life's flashing by, I'm lucky to be here, Jeff, because today at Home Depot, I was walking back to my car and a guy backing out of his parking space missed me by this much. You know, 8 inches. Can you imagine your last picture taken with a backup camera? That's the picture I want sitting on my casket at my funeral. Thank you very much, Jeff. Have a good night. I'm Bill Douglas.
Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Great. Yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. So are they allowed to have classes now in New Hampshire?
The parents had a choice. So 80% of my school's live, and I'm part of the 20% parents chose their remote. So it was basically family choice.
Is it hard teaching the 20% dead kids? Is that hard? Or?
Yeah, we got live kids, but they so I think they handled it well. So instead of being upset with the one decision schools made, they could basically get what they wanted. So I think it worked out pretty well.
Are you able to exchange your kid for another kid if you want?
I wish.
Damn.
It's tough to dispose of bodies on Zoom.
Absolutely.
You know, you always have kids. Mr. Douglas, when are we ever going to need to know this? Lean on that shovel. You think you're never going to have to bury a body? I'm just trying to give them, you know,
life's experience.
You got it. You know, is this going to be graded? This is a fire drill.
They have to learn like the important things to know in life. Like vodka has 40% alcohol. Okay, wine not so much. It's 10 to 13%.
And always carry a vial of urine with you wherever you go, just in case.
Yeah. But how the measurements, you know, like, you know, so they don't smoke too much weed.
How many elements in the periodic table now? When I was a kid, it was 103, and now it's like 500 or something like that.
It's about 120 if you count the ones that are existing for a fraction of a second in labs.
Crazy.
I think it's like 118. You know, and then they all have the UNQ, which is a Latin prefix, but they don't really exist anywhere for any length of time. But
yeah. So you can't do. I mean, you can't do a chemist. You can't have labs though. Like you can't have like chemistry labs and
on Zoom. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I do some demonstrations, but I can't even have kids do things with me because the simplest materials kids don't necessarily have at home. So it's a lot of watching, which is not the way I do things live.
Go into your medicines cabinet, break open a thermometer. We're going to use some mercury. Some mercury experiments.
Yeah, it's too bad it's so toxic because mercury is absolutely fascinating, isn't it, Bob?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You break out the Van de Graaff generator.
I do have a Van de Graaff. I do have a Van de Graaff at school. We use a little one, and it's big enough to get the kids' hair up. You know.
Yeah, cool.
The biggest one in the world's at the Science Museum in Boston that a lot of my kids have seen.
I guess you can tell the kids to break out the Van de Kamp fish.
Yeah.
In the freezer. Kind of the same.
But I mean, you're so limited. Like you can't take them on field trips, like to Flint, Michigan. You know,
drink the water.
This experience polluted water live. This is what polluted water looks like. You know, this is what they mean when they say don't drink the water. You know. Yeah.
Hitting the metric. When I was a kid, they said, "Oh, we're gonna be in the metric system by the time I'm 60." We're still not in the metric system in America.
Us in Liberia.
Yeah, we're holding out.
Do you know what they call a foot massage in the United Kingdom?
What?
Foot massage.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you don't hear much about British engineers. Do you suppose it's because that one bridge keeps falling down, falling down?
True.
Yeah, that's the thing. We kept on singing when I was going to school. I could never, like, I was always wondering, why are the London bridges always falling down? You know?
Maybe that
Like,
should tell you how the importance of doing math and science in school.
don't they have good engineers in the UK? You know?
Do you know where the London Bridge is, Jeff?
Yeah.
It's in the United States, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Arizona.
It's in Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah, it's at a tourist place, and I mean, it's like a little touristy stop in Arizona of all places.
Oh, okay.
I never knew that.
Anything for tourism.
Who says comedy is mindless? Look at that.
I remember when they brought it here.
I never knew that.
I don't know why they did it. Do you, Bob? Somebody was fascinated by it, I guess.
Well, because it fell down.
It's falling down, yeah. Shove it.
Yeah.
You know, as long as we're on science, I was just thinking about this today. You know, laws of physics say that as you approach the speed of light, time slows down. Can you imagine how long it'd take your wife to choose shoes at warp speed? Oh, God.
Yeah. Well, speaking of warp speed, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be like William Shatner, Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
And, you know, never give up your dreams, because I finally became like Captain Kirk. I, too, now use a sleep apnea machine. Very happy about that. Don't give up your dreams, people.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to bring on the next comedian, saving the best for last. He's from Montreal comedian, writer, producer, and he used to work in a chicken restaurant where they served chicken poppers. That's how he got his name, Polly Poppers. So please welcome Polly Poppers.
Yeah.
Good evening. How are you? To everybody, all those watching out there. Hey, it's lockdown plastic. We have our elected officials to blame for it. And I was helping my niece with her homework, and she's there. Uncle Polly, I have to talk about the prime ministers. I'm there. All right, so all the prime ministers were old until we reached the one we currently have. He has a beard, long hair, and he smokes pot. What better prime minister? When we speak to him the next day, he'll probably have forgotten, or when he's giving a speech, because here in Canada, for some reason, there are no State of the Union. It'd be hilarious to see this guy talk and giggle his way through a speech. But, and people are, people ask, hey man, you can't stand up. How are you handling comedy? I'm there, plain and simple. I'll just write down my gags on Facebook, read them. But this and that, for teaching my nieces a bit about Canadian history, it's a little bit of fun, and let people know, why didn't you ever become a teacher? Because if I were to become a teacher, they wouldn't be learning. They'd be laughing all the time. That's why I don't become a teacher. It'd be like a way too cool teacher. And being in confinement is insane. Like watching outside, look out at my window, seeing people getting fined for being out where they're not supposed to, unless you have a little piece of paper that says, "Hey man, look, I'm coming back from work. Here's my permission slip." And I was thinking, and what if I create my own permission slip and at the bottom put down Polly's mother or Polly's father? Would it fly? And like people that you think it would work? No, it wouldn't. I think I'd have to put down Horshack's mother or Epstein's mother in order for this to work. And like when the cops see Epstein and they're Epstein, they're going to be looking twice at me. And but you've never seen a South American Italian Jew. Like, leave me alone, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, like if you went to the whole library of Netflix and Amazon Prime, now you're screwed. Now, like you're gonna have to watch like Facebook Prime and go look at all the posts, and even that gets boring because they become repetitive at one point. Because there's like hundreds of people that find that one post funny, and 100 people share it, and you're just it repeats and repeats and it repeats. Yeah, so like Jeffrey was saying, I got my nickname working at my friend's restaurant. I was in the kitchen one night and many people were ordering chicken poppers, and he was there, Polly, poppers, Polly, poppers. And I looked at him, hey, dude, you just gave me a stage name. Thank you. Polly Poppers is a crazy name. It's a cool name. And a lot of people think it refers to the drugs, and they're no, man, it refers to chicken. And yeah, like growing up, people are like, what do you celebrate? And they're, guys, my mom's side is Catholic, my dad's side is Jewish, and they're, yeah, man, 8 crazy nights followed by 1 holy night. That's what I celebrate. 9 nights of getting wasted. And they're looking, 9 nights of getting wasted. Like, yeah, man, you should ask one of your parents to convert, so then you could do it. And it'd be funny. It would be funny to see an Italian kid trying to convince the father who's Catholic to convert to Judaism so he could drink for 9 nights. And I'd be there just while watching the show and enjoying it because it'd be hilarious. And I told him, dude, you could just drink for the 9 nights. You don't have to convert. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to convert this over to Jeffrey, and I thank everybody for listening and watching.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so I neglected to mention that Polly's also an actor, and he's going to be in. He has a role in an Italian sitcom on YouTube.
Cool.
Which is you're in season 3. What?
Yes, I'm here as of season 3.
Season 3,
and
yeah.
There is some Italian, but it's mostly in English.
Yeah. So it's Italians, put together by Italians. And I was on his podcast last week. He invited me back on for Monday. And I met online. Well, I saw a podcast with 3 of the actors, and they're pretty good, pretty funny. And it looks like a pretty good show. Did it actually? It started now? Is it premiered?
Yeah, it's on. We filmed episode 11 last week. And next week we're probably filming episode 12 of season 3.
Okay, filming. But did they start airing the episodes from the beginning?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's already on YouTube.
It's already on YouTube. Okay. That's called Glee Combari on YouTube. So it seems like very, very interesting story, and very well written, put together. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah, the story is interesting. It's pretty funny, and what's good is we have the opportunity to improvise. So if the joke comes to you and you do it and you like it, it stays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
And
Having a staring contest. Who's gonna blink first?
How are the vaccines doing in Montreal, Jeff?
They're coming out gradually.
So it's pretty a lot slower than the U.S.
Yeah, they started late. Well, they're off to a late start. You know.
Do you have 3 different versions like we do? Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer. Do you have 3 options or?
Well, there's Pfizer, and Moderna, and I don't know of any others.
Okay.
Yeah, now they're on to like the under 60s with like chronic conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's moving along. By June they're be able to get to like the 16 to 39 group, their first shot.
Yeah.
And there was some talk that they would come out with another vaccine where they won't have to wait as long. It won't be like the 3 to 4 month waiting period. So but they really have to keep moving things along and adapt and yeah, just go to the hospital and don't have to wait. Just go in and get your shot. When I went, there wasn't even that many people there to get their shot. Did you get the vaccine yet, Polly?
No, I'm 49, so I have to wait.
Still have to wait. Okay.
Yes.
So that would be a while. So that wouldn't be until May. Probably not. So sometime in May, probably. Yeah.
Well, he'll probably reach 60 before he can get it.
Sometime in May or June.
Yeah. But when you age faster when you're waiting.
That's right.
You age faster, but my chronicle age is 70. I mean, my biological age is 70. I don't,
I identify. Just say you identify as a 70-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I should try that and see what happens. Just to see what happens. But here in Montreal, knowing the nurses or the doctors, security. They'll probably call security or call to get me put in a straitjacket.
There you go.
They'll ask you if you know Seinfeld.
It's a little insane over here, but
it was less painful
I should
than
tell
going
them I
for
know Seinfeld.
Because I've gone for blood. I've had blood tests that it was harder to get. It was more painful to get than just a shot in the arm.
No, the only scary thing is I don't know if they do in Canada, but here they have the 15-minute timer. Like once you get your vaccine, you have a timer in front of you. You really think you're going to blow up. It's the weirdest feeling. Like you watch it go down and down, and it's like you're waiting for something to happen. It's just a very weird feeling. But actually, I had the second shot. I had really crazy bout of chills. It was wild.
Yeah, me too. For about 4 or 5 hours.
I was fine 1 second. It was like going from 70 degrees to like ice water automatically. It was wild. It's like suddenly like feeling like chills from the inside out. My teeth were chattering. Never had that. It was wild. And then I just fell asleep and I woke up and it was fine.
Yeah. Reminds me of my last colonoscopy, After I asked the doctor for a prescription for the codeine, or he used to put me out,
Yeah, that's the greatest sleep you ever get, the colonoscopy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like amazing. You just like fall asleep. And you wake up maybe 20 minutes later, and if you feel like you've slept for a year.
Rip Van Winkle.
It really is. It's just a great, and I felt the same way. It's like, can't I get that stuff at home?
That's fentanyl.
Oh, I'll legalize that too.
Yeah.
Well, they're also legalizing cocaine, but a lot of cocaine addicts is very upset because they refuse to legalize straws. So
It's very hard to do with a paper straw.
I know, it's really.
Especially if it's wet.
So I saw your name, Paulie. I thought of Mr. Papa's Penguins. The story
I
of
haven't
Mr.
seen
Papa.
it. No, I've heard of the film, but I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's a kid story. It's a great story. It really is a cute film. It's with Jim Carrey. If you like penguins, it's a neat story.
I was planning on watching Chinatown tonight.
With Faye Dunaway?
Yeah, Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. Wow, I haven't seen that movie in years.
What movie?
Chinatown.
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 I think they both won the Academy
Award.
Award.
Interesting one. They did not last night, Thursday. I saw the King of Comedy with Jerry Lewis and Robert De Niro. It was pretty good.
Yeah, that's wild. Great film.
Yeah.
Great film. People don't realize Jerry Lewis, I mean, he was big in America, but like from the 70s on, France loved him.
I didn't know that.
Huge in France.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He was like really huge in France.
And he's done quite a few dramatic films also, so it wasn't only comedy.
Yeah.
King of Comedy was dramatic. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was a great film.
Pardon?
It was a great film. I actually, when he died, I brought some stuff from his estate sale, Jerry Lewis. He sold like watches and stuff like that. So I may not be as big as Jerry Lewis ever, but I have his stuff from his home. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
From the Borscht Belt, the Catskills.
Orange Hills, yeah.
Brown's
A
Hotel.
lot of those places are abandoned now, aren't they?
Yeah. It's totally abandoned. Like no one lives there. It's like Canada now. No.
Parts of Canada.
It's a total wasteland.
Not as cold.
Like Canada.
Well, in the past 4 years, there's a lot of Americans that have moved up here.
Why is the Vietnam War starting up again? I'm not exactly sure why they would do that.
I have no idea, but well, back in I think in the 60s and the 70s, there was a lot of people that moved up here to dodge the draft.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was the place to go.
I had a teacher in college, a history teacher in college from New York, who was a draft dodger. He got on he said he was on FBI's most wanted list. He burnt his draft card.
I think the Canadian Tourist Board made a commercial about that, right?
Yeah.
We may be cold, but we don't have a draft. It's not drafty here. And they all came.
Who let them back in? Was that Carter?
I guess.
Somebody legalized them back. Let them come back.
Must have been Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Carter was my favorite president. He probably the one who did the least damage.
Well, they're all like, everyone criticized Trump because of his controversial Twitter messages.
Mm.
And you think it would stop with Biden, but like last week, Biden for Easter, he put out a Twitter message wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and then he said he wished Kamala Harris a happy good Black Friday. So you never know. Just they're all the same. They're all
Well,
it's what you get.
all I say is they're like these guys out there, like, even over here, like they're the reasons comedians still have jobs. Some of these politicians would smarten up, we wouldn't be able to get jokes about them anymore.
It's true.
What's
with your guy Trudeau? Is he like
up.
there forever? How many years has he been? Is he president, prime minister? Like what is
Prime Minister? Yeah. Since 2015.
It could be, I think, 4.
Yeah.
And what do you have? Do you have like a two-party system or?
Yeah. 5 parties.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do they create like a parliament?
Yeah, we have a parliament. Yeah. Yeah.
So they have to come to an agreement, right, in order to create a government, or?
Well, if it's minority government, like right now they have a minority government. So, like Trudeau has to get more like votes from other parties on his side if he wants to pass a certain law or certain legislation. So
Trump is available if you need someone.
Yeah, but it's very difficult to contact him because you can't Twitter. They're actually kicking me off Twitter because they found out I stayed for a weekend at the Trump Taj Mahal in 2003, so they're kicking me off. Told them I won money, but it doesn't matter, apparently.
I wouldn't lose any sleep over it.
But Trudeau's a playboy, isn't he? Or isn't he like, is he single or something? Or
no, he's married.
Did he just recently get married, or?
No, he's been married a while. No, he was. Yeah, he was married before he was elected. I think he got married. I don't remember what year. You remember what year he got married? Was it 2003, 2005?
Something like that. It was before he became prime minister.
Yeah. I think probably around the same time he was elected MP. Yeah. His father was like a playboy before he got married, and then he got married. Then his wife Margaret played the field.
Oh, that was it, maybe. I heard that, is it true? I heard this on one of the comedy groups. Like, if you tell a joke, an offensive joke, what people would, in Canada, you can get fined and all that?
There was one comedian that was sued in Quebec by the Quebec, because we have a human rights commission. That's like the court. And so the parents of the kid took it to this commission, and they decided that he had to pay like $40,000 as like a fine, or
Really? Wow.
But he said, "No way, I'm not paying it." No.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm glad my parents aren't alive, because they could sue the hell out of me with a lot of the jokes I make. But it's good that they're not alive.
Yeah. I make jokes about my dead relatives. When I talk about my family, it's mostly about my dead relatives. So I don't think anything will come back to sue me.
So if someone makes a joke about you, like, is that like common? Can like comedians really get sued?
Maybe possible if it's
Wow.
like
It was-
offensive. If it's offensive,
It was, yeah, it was this one case. It was this kid that had an illness, and he was a singer, and the comedian made jokes about that, and then it's like, oh, it's offensive. But if you're going to be out in the public eye like that and want to become an entertainer, you're going to get it. It's and
Right.
if you, especially if you do something stupid, now you just give all these guys like material, and they're I'm there, and like people get to say, oh, but it's bad, and they're look. Trevor Noah is mentioning you. Jimmy Fallon is mentioning you. Jimmy Kimmel is mentioning you. You're getting free publicity. Why am I going to sue? They're giving me free publicity. As long as they keep on talking, you're talking about me. People are going to go do a search.
What was the issue? Because it was a kid. I don't understand the issue.
Yeah, it was like a 13-year-old kid, and the parents said what he did was offensive, making fun of his handicap. Wow. And like the comedians there, well, if you're going to be out in the public eye, you've just become a target for anybody. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, but they want to single me out.
That's pretty crazy.
I mean,
I got to stop making my jokes about Peter Dinklage and that's in Roseanne Barr. I got to stop those.
Jeff, I have to get on another call.
Okay, sure. Thanks for coming on, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Bob.
Take care, everyone.
See you later. Yeah.
Been fun.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye. Good night. Good night.
Like,
we're still live on the telethon. You still have time to donate. Donate, please donate. Get to your phone. Send us an email. There's still
like
time.
I was telling you, if you have all these people that are going to be looking at your social media, looking at your YouTube to see what you do or who you insult, I could have been sued by the Kardashians already. Like as my last joke was, Archie Comics wants to cancel out Veronica Lodge because it's offensive to the Kardashians. They could have sued me.
Right.
I was threatened to be sued. Someone threatened to sue me for slander that I had her on one of my. It was a serious podcast, and she's a doctor now practicing in Tennessee, but she was from Canada. You know, the whole thing, she was criticizing the Canadian healthcare system. You know, and then she was offended when the comedian who happened to be watching the podcast made a comment against the American healthcare.
No, that's scary stuff. You know, people should be able to laugh, and if they don't want to laugh, that's fine. But you know, I don't know.
Yeah, pendulum swung way too far. You do have to be aware of differences, but you got to be able to laugh at yourself too. It's
right.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you experiment with jokes and they land or they don't land. I mean, it's hard to you know, figure what's. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's scary stuff. You know. I look at the comedians that I grew up with. You know, George Carlin, people like that, like really pushed the button. They were funny because of it.
Yeah, the question is how many people, if one person is offended, is that enough to stop something? If it's one person, every time one person's offended, that's got to stop it for everybody. It's how many people,
and what's the like, I love the new show. I don't know if any of you, if you have in Canada, the show in America called Be Positive. And it's about someone who needs a kidney and he's kidney donor, and it's a situation comedy. And you know, you could say, "Oh my God, how horrible!" They're making jokes about someone who's in renal failure, but you know, it's a funny show. It's a funny premise. It's you know, if I was in renal failure, I might not find it that funny.
But you don't have to watch it either, do you?
What? Right.
You have to watch it if you don't like it. I mean,
watch it.
But that should not allow everybody else to be able to watch it because they do find it's funny. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't figure it out.
And basically, it's what I don't like about this this cancel culture. It's certain people making decisions for everybody, like of what's offensive or what isn't offensive. Like let people judge for themselves.
Yeah, they don't ever look at intent. Because most comedians aren't intending to be hurtful; they're intending to be funny, and I think you have to kind of look at intent too. You also don't grow up with any kind of strength if you're that fragile.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It says like the case with Pepe Le Pew. It's like I'm there. Okay, you're offended by a cartoon that has a thing for a cat, which he thinks is a skunk because she just got a stripe bit down her back. I'm there. Come on, it's like, and even Fluffy. Is there Fluffy? Like, is there? I'm Mexican, and I know many Mexicans, and we're not offended by Speedy Gonzalez. It's like, who's making these decisions for us?
Right.
And I agree. If a cartoon skunk is going to offend you, just don't leave your house.
Yeah, you got to live in a bubble.
And don't want
and leave the skunk, for God's sake. I mean, yeah. I don't get it. I sometimes think like it's just done for attention. I don't really think like people are really offended by that. I just feel like let's just push. It's people trying to push the envelope and get attention. I don't know. I just can't honestly think that someone spent their life trying to ban Pepe Le Pew.
Paulie, are you too young to remember the Frito Bandito?
The who?
The Frito Bandito. You know Fritos? They used to have an ad and they had a little guy named the Frito Bandito. Do you remember that, or is that too? You might be too young.
I remember it vaguely. Frito Bandito. I am the Frito Bandito.
Exactly.
No.
I had a little Frito Bandito eraser in second grade.
Yeah.
It's like it's getting ridiculous. Like I had one person trying to explain why Pepe Le Pew was offensive. I told him, if you think Pepe Le Pew is offensive, go online, stream a few episodes of All in the Family, and look at this comedian called Andrew Dice Clay. I'll show you offensive. It's like, even All in the Family, people were offended by his racist jokes in that show.
But the whole point of All in the Family was to bring that type of thinking out into the mainstream, which was great. That was the whole reason it was so good.
Yeah.
Or if you look at Don Rickles, Don Rickles went after everybody. You don't just focus on one group; you focus on everybody.
Yeah, but I think it was to make like the character Archie look stupid and ridiculous.
Right.
Especially like remember that episode with Sammy Davis Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept on putting his foot in his mouth. You count like 5 or 6 times at least where he just was. They were laughing. They weren't laughing with him. They were laughing at him. He was putting his foot in his mouth. And.
Or push the envelope. Push the envelope. Now it's it's hard to push the envelope.
I went to see a year and a half before he died. I went to see Don Rickles' show at the Plaza Czar here in Montreal.
Oh, that's cool.
And we were waiting to, like, if you booked around back, you could get to the comedians that performed are more than happy to interact with you when they come out from the backstage. And we were a whole bunch waiting for Don Rickles. And like the security goes, all right, Mr. Rickles is going to be out soon, but please, he wants no pictures. Can you please put your phones away? Look, I just want to be insulted by the guy. That's all I want, and I'll be happy. And people started laughing. Yeah, they put their phones away. You know, you got an idea there. They put their phones away. Let's get insulted. And it was a fun night.
That's awesome. I'd love to have seen him.
He was. You know what? He was, I think, in his 90s, but he was still sharp with his jokes.
Amazing guy.
It's like he asked one guy, what do you do? Sir, I go to McGill University. What do you study? Sir, kinesiology? And Don Rickles goes, kid, you're not fooling nobody. The only thing you're studying is climbing trees. But you know, we had fun with it.
Funny man.
Then he gets another guy down. You right there. I need you up on stage. The guys are me. Yeah, you with the big nose. If you're not Jewish, you're a hawk. Come up here. And you know, he had fun with everybody. So it was fun. Even like the other night with a friend, she's 25, and there. Let me show you some old comedians. And I put on Eddie Murphy, Delirious and Raw. She was laughing her head off. He's there. I don't understand why people my age find this offensive. But have you noticed what he does? He'll make fun of groups, then he'll make fun of his family. He'll make fun of himself, and then he'll go back to groups again. That's why you wouldn't be able to attack him. But today, even if a comedian were to start off making fun of themselves and their family, and then got into their groups, you were offensive. You're not going to win against certain people today.
Right.
Well, also, what you say or write, whether it's on Twitter or even, it just gets played over and over again. So it looks like you get the feeling like they're saying the same thing a million times when it may be a passing comment, you know? And like, you know, I heard the other day, like someone had to resign because in 2008 on Twitter, they put down, who's looking at someone's Twitter from 13 years ago? I mean, it's just wild that, you know, we're at the point where, you know, someone can say something 30, 40 years ago and it comes back to as if they said it today. You know, just, I don't know.
No, exactly.
In the Twitter archives.
Yeah, like I don't even know how does someone find that? You know, just and there's an intent to really take people down. I mean, that's it. There's really an intent to it was a comedian. He was supposed to do the award show. God, maybe it was Chappelle. I don't remember who. But they went into his Twitter and they found offensive content, what someone said was offensive years ago, and now he couldn't do they asked for him to apologize. Just like,
oh, I think, wasn't it Kevin Hart?
Oh, maybe it was Kevin Hart. Yeah, I don't know. It may have been Kevin Hart or something like that. And you know, I don't know.
That's it. They had asked him to apologize, and he refused. He said it was a joke, and there was a lot of people that backed him up. Listen, it was a joke. There's nothing to apologize for, and I agree. It's like, I mean, even like, who was it? Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Kimmel and Trevor Noah, they're having a field day with Eric Trump right now. they're like, people there. You know, if these guys would just shut up, these comedians wouldn't make fun of them. And in 4 years from now, if he wants to run again, everything's going to be forgotten. But as long as they keep on talking, it's just going to be there.
Well, you know what? If it's funny, laugh. If it's not funny, then don't laugh. I mean, it's nothing, you know. I don't know. That's how I say. But listen, I have to run to another show as well. Great being with everyone.
Okay. Great having you on. Thanks a lot.
Goldberg.
All right. Good
Yeah.
talking to everyone. Stay funny. Stay safe.
Take
And
care.
listen, I have a little story to
Stay
tell you
safe
before
also.
I leave. Be nice to each other, because just the other day I went to the supermarket and I left my, I'm sure this happened to you. I parked my car all the way back. I left my mask in the car. It was raining. I broke down in front of the supermarket. I said, oh my God, I got to go back to my car and get my mask. This guy comes out of the supermarket. He says, what's the matter, man? Why are you so upset? I said, because I left my mask in the car. I got to go all the way back and get it. You know what this nice guy did? He took his own mask off his face and gave it to me to wear. Be like that guy. Be kind. We're all in this together. Take care.
Take care.
No, but he's right. We are all in this together, and it's like when I did, because before all this, I helped out an elderly lady figure out how her new computer works, and this was being done over the phone, and she was crying, and at the end of the call, she asked me, it took 3 hours, but why were you patient with me and not anybody else? And there, miss, the way I look at it, I'm going to eventually be your age one day. Technology is going to have changed, and I won't understand it. And another thing, everything you've seen and been through, I will never experience in a lifetime. So it was my pleasure to assist you. And at the same time, you've told me stories that I will not get from any history book. And she was so happy with that.
Cool.
But I was being honest with her. I was being honest with her. She was like an 85-year-old lady. I'm not going to experience or see anything that you've seen ever in my life. So
that's true.
And at the end, she was happy. I'm there listening. If you have another issue, call back. You will fall upon somebody that will be just as patient as I was. And a few days later, she called back, and one of my colleagues got her and asked my supervisor, can I transfer her to Lady Paul? There, look, if you can transfer her, I'll be more than happy. And there, no, we can't do that. You guys know that.
Yeah.
But it's like, have patience. There, I mean, you guys are like in your 20s and your 30s. You have patience with an 18-year-old that doesn't know what you're doing. Why don't you have the same patience with an 80-year-old? Come on. And it's the way it is. And I've always liked elderly people. I've always listened to their stories, and their stories like of the war or escaping are so fantastic. And you'll never see that in a Hollywood movie, but if you do, they're really going to embellish it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Sometimes I really have to be patient. Really have to be patient with myself. And I've got stories that you won't find in the history books. You know?
No, exactly, because it's like the history books will say, oh, they came to North America or wherever under these circumstances, but they don't say. It's like the hardships they had when in escaping, having to get across the ocean, and then the hardships they had when they got here. That will never be mentioned. It's like, okay, they got here and they were happy. No, they weren't. You know, the people that got here had to work like animals, 60, 70 hours a week in order to be able to provide for their family. Like, that's not mentioned. And like I tell people, the perfect example, my dad, 86 years old and still doing works 55 hours a week. He doesn't want to retire.
And there's no statistics for the amount of kids who had to drop out of school when they were 13 to work to support the family like my father did. There's nowhere, anywhere where you find any numbers, any statistics that will speak to the truth of what it was like in those days in the 20s and 30s. you know, comparison to what they went through, what these kids are going through, what we went through, it's nothing.
Right.
You know?
Well, Jeff, I enjoyed tonight. I need to run. Nice to meet you, Polly.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, Jeff, have a good night. And
Well, good night.
again,
Thanks for coming on.
have it downloaded.
What?
Said, have a good night. And I think StreamYard is downloaded on my phone now. So yeah, I don't think it's, I have it on my phone. I couldn't get it on my tablet. So, and it's using the charger to charge it at the same time. So if ever in the future you do another one, let me know.
Sure. Okay. We'll be in touch.
Yeah. All right. I will. Right. Have a good night.
Right. And that was it, folks. A great all bro show tonight. And this night, the subtle and, you know, face song that scared away some people, I think. Anyway, I was just one that came back. Anyway, that's the end of our show. And, well, it's been great weather here in Montreal the last few days, like summer. Doesn't feel like spring. So I'm going to say, stay safe and stay beautiful. And we'll see you again, at the same time, same day, Saturday night for Bro Show number 13. Good night.